fact of the matter is, the best program is the one that you can adhere to, the one that you can stay consistent in for a long period of time. And some of the things that lead to success and lead to results aren't that exciting all the time, right? It's a lot more exciting to find a new weight loss shake online than it is to drink more water in the morning.
Alrighty, it says we are live on Facebook now. We talked about this and we decided I should start it today because, as you all know, Matt has hearing problems at the beginning and then it gets better magically. I'm just
Like
kidding.
Matt, as a person, has hearing problems up there.
So, today we want to talk about a little bit about motivation, but also we're going to tie in momentum into that as well. So, we wanted to chat about, are you waiting for momentum to get started? And we just had the new year, right? Quite often that can be a Kickstarter where people feel really motivated at the start of the year. But I think yesterday officially is, apparently this sounds terrible, but it was National Quitters Day. So yesterday is the day where most people, whatever New Year's resolution they've come up with, they fall off the wagon. And that's only 12 days in. Okay, so it's very clear that motivation wears off after a certain amount of time, right? It's very, very tough to stay highly, highly motivated and keep on that track. Even people who you see maybe who are like the easiest one that I can think of to relate to is maybe like professional athletes. Like you might think that they are super highly motivated every single day to go in and work out or show up to the gym or show up to practice or play their games. But I'm sure, I guarantee you, like every team goes through slumps, and there's going to be times when they are, I'm sure, not motivated to go to the gym or go to the rink or to the court or wherever they're, practicing or performing. But I think it's very important just to understand that motivation does wear off, and when we have it, to take advantage of it, and then also to understand when we don't have it, how we can like work our way out of that and how to deal through with that. So I know, Matt, you were talking about before the transition, I guess, or the motivation into momentum, that whole principle there. So I'll let you take it away on that.
Yeah, yeah. So, like you said, Tom, motivation is fleeting. It's this thing. Well, you can picture it. If you want to put a picture to this, is you get those new shoes. You're super excited. You have the new shoes. They're nice and shiny. They're white, not a mark on them, and you're super excited to go running in them. And you run for 1 week straight, and then all of a sudden the shoes kind of, they're not as new, right? And if you relied on the new feeling of the shoes, or you have a new journal, like you have I have a few journals back there I never really used because I was relying on the motivation that I got from having something new or trying something exciting, which is not bad. But if you don't attach it to something deeper, if you don't attach meaning behind what you're doing, it's really hard to continue forward. Because inevitably, when you're trying to improve yourself, you're trying to, yeah, and try to prove yourself in multiple facets of life, whether it's relationally, whether it's your mindset, physically, you're going to hit some hard times. You're going to have some struggles. And if you're relying on the motivation, like Tom said, like the athletes, they don't want to get up every single morning and train. There's things that they do because they are disciplined. They have become disciplined in practice because they are attached to a deeper meaning behind it. And whatever that might be, I'm not sure, but that's what we find helps people we coach have more success, is rooting yourself into why it's important and then creating discipline and practices around what you want to achieve. And what that does is that creates action. And when action is done with consistency, that then builds momentum. And when anything has enough momentum and mass behind it, and mass being all these habits in your health and fitness, it's really hard to slow that down. Like you're going to hit those resistance. You're going to have resistance in your life. You're going to have time when maybe you get sick for a week and you don't want to work out the next week, and then it turns into 2 weeks. But if you root yourself in that reason why you're doing it, that momentum is going to carry you forward because you're going to take action and you create disciplines around that.
I think you just tied a little bit of physics into that with your, I know, you're just a smart guy.
Well, yeah, hopefully, if someone smarter than me, I mean, it's the whole force and velocity thing, right? When the object is stationary, you're going to need high force and there's going to be low velocity, like big F, little v. But as you put more and more force in it, you're going to gain velocity. As that force gets smaller, that velocity gets bigger and you need less force to continue forward.
Yeah.
Physics.
Well, there's a lot of transferables in principles like physics principles into, what we're talking about here as well. I think you touched on it as well. Success in any area basically comes down to discipline, right? Discipline and doing, basically keeping yourself accountable. And that's very, very tough. So that's why when we talk about, maybe needing a little extra accountability at the start of things, at the start of your journey with a coach, they can come in and help you with that accountability to help keep you on track. But more or less, it comes down to consistency and discipline. And that's like the principle to, wanting to get better at anything. So the principle of, you know, there's different principles from all realms that are, like we've talked about, they're transferable
Mhm.
from one thing to the next. And being disciplined in the right ways. I think people like think of discipline as like punishing somebody perhaps, but like
Right.
you need to be disciplined and accountable to yourself to what you say you want to do, which is easier said than done for sure. Because we all go through times, like we said, when we feel unmotivated. And then what? Then, like Matt said, you've got to have a really deep rooted reason why you're doing it in order to stay disciplined, to take action. The action gains momentum, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And it comes down to staying focused, right? We're always going to see the new best exercise program, the new best diet. This is the one. This is the one that's going to get you there. This is the one that you're going to have to put a little effort in to achieve big results. But the fact of the matter is, the best program is the one that you can adhere to, the one that you can stay consistent in for a long period of time. And some of the things that lead to success and lead to results aren't that exciting all the time, right? It's a lot more exciting to find a new weight loss shake online than it is to drink more water in the morning, right? It doesn't make sense because, well, we have water very accessible. Why would that be the thing that's going to lead to success? But it does because you build consistency there. And then when you can stay focused on one thing, you can stay focused on another, and you just start stacking and stacking and building and building.
Definitely a longer term approach or a longer term mindset, but I think that's the healthier way to go for most things. You got to build a strong, well, it's another principle. You got to build a strong foundation in order to build anything up. And you can't just build a 20-foot skyscraper in a 1 foot by 1 foot square. It's just
Yeah.
not going to work, right?
Yeah. And that's why we're so excited about how we've been helping our clients with our coaching program, right? We're helping them build that foundation, build that mindset, build that identity piece, build build out these habits and routines, build out an environment around them so that the mass is all built out at the bottom and you can build more achievement, more success, the transformation at the top. And that all stems from really doing that deep work. And it's really cool to see people have that light bulb moment where it's like, oh, I'm going to get my results and I'm going to keep them because this is just who I am now.
I think, yeah, that comes down to, like we talked about recently, some affirmations maybe. And a lot of people I know have written down or thinking of words and like, I want to put down like I'm motivated. Well, what if you wake up and you actually you aren't motivated, right? Or like the action if the action doesn't match what you're saying, it gets way harder to cement that thought in your head too. So if you say with your affirmations in the morning something along the lines of like, I am disciplined or I am accountable, and then you act on that, that is, I think, maybe some potentially some better words to use versus like, I am motivated, right? Because like we said, motivation is fleeting. You might not feel it every time, but you can stay disciplined and accountable. That's a decision that you can make every day.
That was powerful. And it made me think of it's a byproduct, right? Motivation is a byproduct of something else that you don't necessarily have control over. Just like when people say, I am happy. Well, no, that's a byproduct of something else. What's something you can take action on that might lead to that happiness, right? That might lead to that joy, that fulfillment, that strengthened body, that strengthened mind that you ultimately want. Well, it's like you said, Tom, it's I am disciplined in my health and fitness practices. I am consistent in who I am to those I love. It's things like that, because that's something that you can actually see. But the other things, it's a feeling, right? It's a feeling that is a byproduct of action.
Well said. Wow.
Cool. This was fun. Well, we always want to give you some actionable advice. For me, I'm just going to say, just commit to one small habit for 2 weeks. And even better, I would really appreciate if you sent that to me. You send it to me or Tom and say, I'm committing to this habit for 2 weeks. And we'd love to keep you accountable on that, and just message me even every day on Facebook and say, did it, missed it. And I love to hear how it went. What do you got, Tom?
I was just going to come back to, I think I mean, I'm going to keep going back to those affirmations because they've started to be really, really important for me personally. And just
Mm.
I've had a few, we always talk about the epiphanies we have or the mindset revelations we
Yep.
have. And that's been one that I've had recently. So, um, make your affirmations, yeah, something that are not tied to emotion, right? Something that can be consistent. So, yeah, saying I am consistent or I am disciplined in this. I am consistent in who I am regardless of what room I walk into. Right? That's something that I think you can take and put into your affirmations to make them even stronger. Like we all want the affirmations to be positive things, right? But that's like happy is positive, but it is a emotion, like we said. So um, something that's very concrete and can stay consistent the whole time.
Love it. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Um, as always, feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help if we can. And we have a lot of free tools and resources that we're happy to send your way. Just let us know. Have a great day.